الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, seek His aid and ask His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evils of ourselves and from the evils of our actions. Whomsoever Allah guides and can misguide. And whomsoever Allah misguides and can guide, I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except for Allah alone, and no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad is His slave and His messenger. To proceed, really the best of talks is the Quran, and the best of guidance is the guidance of His messenger Muhammad. May peace and blessings be upon him. And very the most evil of all matters are the ones elevated, for every newly elevated matter is an innovation, and every innovation is a misguidance, and every misguidance will lead to the hellfire. As we are studying the book of the Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, and that is Usul al-Sunnah, and at the moment we had a long break, which is about more than 2 months, I would believe. We're coming back to tackle the book and go straight away to where we left it the last time. And I'm going to recite just some of those sentences that we have discussed before. That is starting from point number 8 in your book. وَالسُّنَّةُ تُفَسِّرُ الْقُرْآنِ, and the Sunnah explains and clarifies the Quran, which we have explained. But I would like just to make a recap here. We divided the Sunnah in terms of meaning-wise into 2 categories: the general and the specific. The general is which is the religion, the way, the methodology, the path. The specific, which is the words of the Prophet ﷺ, in terms of his approval, in terms of his actions, in terms of his sayings. Then, in this sentence, وَالسُّنَّةُ تُفَسِّرُ الْقُرْآنِ, and the Sunnah explains the Quran, is he talking about the specific or is he talking about the general? The specific, because he is talking about the Sunnah, that is the saying, the actions, and the approval of the Prophet of Allah, which explains the Quran. He says, وَهِيَ دَلَائِلُ الْقُرْآنِ, it is the guide to the Quran containing evidence and also indication as to its meanings and correct interpretations. And he goes on, وَلَيْسَ فِي السُّنَّةِ قِيَاسٌ وَلَا تُضْرَبُ لَهَا الْأَمْثَالِ. There is no analogical reasoning in the Sunnah, and as well examples or likeness are not to be made for it. This is the explanation that we have had the last time. I'm going to continue from that, and it says here, point number 11, وَلَا تُدْرَكُ بِالْعُقُولِ, nor it is grasped and comprehended by the intellects or the desires. وَلَا تُدْرَكُ بِالْعُقُولِ وَالْأَهْوَاءِ. Al-uqul means that the Sharia, it will not be comprehended, it will not be understood just merely with the aql, in terms of the details of it, because the aql is limited. Why? Because the aql, the intellect, is based upon the senses. The senses are your eyes, your feelings, your hearings. So your hearing, we know it's limited. Your seeing is limited. Your smelling and feeling is limited. So if your sources that goes into your aql, in order your aql would determine the outcome, are limited, then your aql is what? Limited. This is a very simple equation. So because you are limited, that means you cannot see around corners. That is why we say to the person, whatever comes to you from the Sharia, you have to submit and surrender. And if this is explainable, that means you could really see the outcome, you could see the reasoning of it, submit. And submission, inshallah, is very easy. But when it comes that's something that you don't understand the idea behind it, from the Sharia, why is he telling you that? But you can't understand because your aql is limited. Don't make that non-understanding of yours, you're not comprehending it, to be an object or an obstacle for you to submit to Allah. Do you understand that? So if you have seen a command or something from the Sharia where your aql does not give a logical reasoning for it, don't give that short understanding, because your understanding is limited. Don't make it a sort of a hinder or an obstacle in order to understand the Sharia and in order to submit to Allah and His Messenger. I'll give an example. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, he said, if the religion was to be, that is, with a mere opinion, badiratul ra'i, that means the first opinion, then the person would find it more reasonable, that is, to wipe over the khuf from the bottom, not from the top. So if the deen was merely an opinion, which is like the first thoughts of yours, if you look at it, you would say that it's more reasonable, more logical to wipe over the khuf from underneath when you make the masah, rather than to wipe over it from the top, in order to make yourself, that is, in full wudu. So, but we know that the naql, the text says to us that it's actually you have to wipe from the top. But if you look carefully, you will definitely come to the following conclusion, that this authentic text will never ever conflict with the proper intellectual thoughts. For verily, yes, from the first brink, you will think, that is, wiping over the khuf from the bottom, wiping on the khuf from the bottom, more logical. But if you think deeply, you will come to terms and say, hang on a second. Well, no, the wiping from the bottom is dirty. And if the Sharia wants me to wipe over the khuf from the bottom, I would rather just take my socks off and then wash my feet. So it's merely ibadah. And that is what the Sharia, all of it, came to have two things. Every single command, it will carry either mere ibadah, that means just for ibadah, there's no reasoning behind it, or something that you could really understand why Allah had said to you to do that. Or it could be in cross-section in between, mere ibadah plus it is as well reasoning. I'll give you an example. 4 rak'ah of dhuhr, 4 rak'ah of asr, 3 rak'ah of maghrib, 2 rak'ah of fajr, all of that mere ibadah. There's no such thing that, why can't I make dhuhr 5 rak'ah? Why can't I make the rak'ah instead of 1 ruku', 2 ruku'as in it? That's mere ibadah. So your brain had to submit because it's ibadatul mahdha. It's mere ibadah. So I can't really question here. But when it comes to, for example, the command to the women to cover up their beauty, now you know that this command has a reasoning. You understand why. To cover their beauty, because those beauties might attract the male and it might lead to the fornication. So you understand why the command of that. So here between this and that. So we understand there are ibadah, which is mere ibadah, and ibadah which got what? A reasoning behind it. Now, if you look at the issue or the matter regarding wiping over the khuf, we will come, if you think deeply, that it is better to wipe over the khuf from the top, because wiping from the bottom, this is going to be, as I said, making yourself and your hand dirty. You don't have to do that. And as I said, if Allah wants you to do that, then He would have just told you to take off the khuf or the socks. Right. When the person who goes against the Sharia commands, and he always tries to base his judgment onto intellectual facts, and he would base his commands and his decisions on the intellectual facts without looking at the Sharia, then he will know that all his judgment is going to be corrupted, because he does not look onto the consequences. And I'll give you an example. They call it Al-Rabi' al-Arabi, the spring of the Arabs. And those people, they looked just, onto the situation based upon their intellect without looking at the Sharia. They said, if we chuck the leaders who are oppressors and tyrant, and then we will have a free country, a country which is Islamist, a country that would really uphold the laws of Allah. But they did not look at that text where the Prophet ﷺ is saying that to be patient and even if the leader is to be tyrant, not to make a coup against him, they did not listen to the text. They put their intellect, which is, as I said, intellect which is not injected with the Sharia, and they ended up with disaster everywhere you like. Everywhere you look is a disaster. And that is why when it was said to Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, there are people who are enjoining good and forbidding evil by taking money. So he said, verily, they are not doing good because they are making more corruption than fixing. So if you want to enjoy good and forbid evil by taking money from the people, that's not right. So it is actually, it has to be done in the proper way by implementing the, we call it targhib wa tarhib. You tell them, and that's what you're going to get in paradise, that's what you get it from the hellfire, but not to take the money from the people. So this is a great principle. You look at Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu for kissing the black stone. It is narrated in Sunnah al-Nasai, hadith is in 2937, on the authority of Abis ibn Rabi'ah. He said, I have seen Umar coming to the black stone. So Abis, he's from the ear of the followers, he said, I've seen Umar radiallahu anhu coming to the black stone, and he was talking to the black stone. He was saying, I know that you are a stone. That means you don't speak, you don't really do anything, you're a stone. But had it been that I have seen the Prophet of Allah kissing you, I would never kiss you. And then he approached it and he kissed it. So this is full submission. So he had made his intellect to follow the command from the Sharia, not the Sharia to follow his intellect the other way around. He submitted his intellect to that. Because if you look at it from the first brink of your thought, first, think, oh, hang on a second, this is total sort of idolatry, isn't it? To go and kiss a stone. It's total idolatry. What the idols were doing at that time, and when Islam came to stop that altogether, now Islam is ordering me, to do idolatry again by kissing a stone. But here, because the Prophet had done it, so it became what? A Sharia. It became a command. It became that I cannot use now the intellect, I have to put it on a side. I have to use the Sharia. As Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he said, simply, the Sharia is just like the judge, and your intellect is a witness. And the judge has the right to say to the witness, I don't need you in this matter. Do you understand that? I don't need your help, because I could see. The judge has got the right to say that. So the Sharia here, he says, your intellect is out now. You cannot put that intellect, because, as I said, your intellect is limited, based upon limited senses. All your senses are limited. Your hearing, your eyes, everything is limited. Right, so here, Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu wardah, he said, the people of Ra'i, Ahlul Ra'i, the people of opinion, they became the enemies of Sunnah. Why? Because it made them tired to understand it. So, because they can't understand it, they don't want to adopt it, so they had objected on it by using their intellect. Why should we do this? Why should we do that? Why do you have to have a short skirt? They call it skirt above the ankles. Why should you, all of that is not really needed. So they used their intellect to reject the Sunnah. Now, then he follows by saying, إِنَّمَا هُوَ الْإِتِّبَاعُ وَتَرْكُ الْهَوَى. Merely it is, this is point number 11, that is an ittiba', to follow, complete following, and to abandon hawa. Hawa means desire. So that means the religion is ittiba'. Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah, he says in his book, which is Sharh al-Sunnah, 75, the point is, وَعْلَمْ, and know for a fact, أَنَّ الدِّينَ إِنَّمَا هُوَ التَّقْلِيدِ. The religion is taqleed. Taqleed means following, taqleed. But the taqleed, this is in the terminology of the old scholars. Taqleed means you follow with the proof. But taqleed, that when we, for example, condemn a person, he says muqallid, means what? Blind follow. That's not different, something different. So whenever you look at the word taqleed in the old books, it means the proper follow. But when we talk about the taqleed these days, the taqleed is muqallid, that means he's a person who is a blind follower. So he said, at-taqleed. But he says, taqleed, to follow, that is to copy and imitate the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The people are of three types. And if you understand that, you'll be relaxed. Ibn Abdul Barr, he said that in his book, Jami' Bayan al-Ilmi wa Fadlih. Imam al-Shatibi, he said that in his book, Al-I'tisam. Also, it is originally in the counseling of Ali ibn Abi Talib to Al-Kumayl ibn Ziyad al-Nakha'i. What did he say to this person? Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said to Kumayl ibn Ziyad, according to what Kumayl had narrated to us, which is authentic. So he said, Ali ibn Abi Talib took hold of my hand, and he took me to a place, and then when he was far away, he started to breathe, and then he said, O Kumayl, for verily the hearts are containers. The best of it is the one that takes a lot. I mean, memorizing a lot. So memorize from me what I say to you. People are of three kinds. A scholar who is Rabbani, alimun Rabbani, a Rabbani scholar. Second one, وَمُتَعَلِّمٌ عَلَى سَبِيلِ النَّجَاةِ, and a learned person who is on the path of salvation. The third one, وَحَمَجٌ رَعَاء أَتْبَاعُ كُلِّ نَاقٍ, and which is the hamaj. What do you call that, hamaj? I mean, the hamaj, some people who have no system whatsoever. So, I don't want to say the general layman, Hamajun Ra'a, which are the ones who follow every call. Hooliganism, you know what is the hooliganism? They just follow, every person, every caller. Those are the ones who are, they go with every wind. Go this way, this side, to that side. They don't have any knowledge, and they don't really support themselves with a strong pillar. For verily, the knowledge is to be good and better than the money and the wealth. For verily the knowledge protects you while you protect the money. Look at that. The knowledge protects you, but you protect the money. So when you have the money, start, well, I'm going to hide it. The knowledge protects you and you protect the money. There's a difference. The knowledge goes higher the more you use it, whereas the money goes less when you use it. Look at that. The knowledge, the more you use it, it goes bigger. And the money, when you use it, it gets less. And the company of the scholars of religion, this is something that you need to abide yourself with, because it will gain you the obedience in your life, and also will gain you the good reputation after your death. Whereas the money, it will go with the going of its owner. It will disappear by the disappearance of its owner. For verily those who are the treasurers, they have died even they were alive. As for the scholars, they remain as long as the time. For verily their bodies, they're not there, but their example in the heart still there. Subhanallah. Their bodies are not there. Scholars have died. But their memory, قال البخاري. Bukhari died a long time ago, but it's still alive. قال الإمام البخاري. هنيئا البخاري. Subhanallah. What Bukhari's name is mentioned. Bukhari. And all these are scholars. So this is the difference. Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, after he had mentioned this athar, in his kitab, the book Al-Faqih al-Mutafaqih, page 184, volume number 1, he said, this hadith is from the best of ahadith and the most honored one. And the Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, dividing division of the people, and he had classification of the people, it is from the best and most authentic, and it is the right way of actually classification, because the people will never go outside these three categories. And these three categories, as we mentioned them, a scholar who's Rabbani, which is a scholar that can make ijtihad, and the second one is the learned person. He's not a scholar, nor he is a layman. And the third one, who is a person who is a general person. Let's just talk about them in details. The mujtahid, the scholar who's Rabbani. Ibn Abbas says regarding the following verse in Surah Ali Imran, verse 79, قال ولكن كونوا ربانيين بما كنتم تعلمون الكتاب وبما كنتم تدرسون. But be Rabbanis. He said, Abdullah ibn Abbas, the Rabbani scholar, the one who teaches the people the small knowledge, the beginning knowledge, before he teaches that big knowledge, because he's actually imitating the Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which he had started by teaching the people simple, and then he's gone to the more complicated. He didn't start with the complicated and then the people will just give up. So he started with the simple from the beginning. And the ijtihad of the scholar is actually ijtihad. It could be ijtihad mutlaq, absolute ijtihad in everything. It could be ijtihad in a specific matter, and it could be a specific issue. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's making it facilitation to us. But because those who are blind followers, when they were not able to make ijtihad, they closed the gate of ijtihad, and they prevented the ijtihad to take place after the 4th century. And they made it compulsory upon the ummah to imitate only 4 scholars. That is, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. We wish that they have left the door open like it was open, and the gate is open for those who want to make ijtihad, but actually they made this madhab into 4 and that's it. And that is why you find Al-Bayjuri, he says in his Jawhara al-Tawheed, his Jawhara, not ours. He says, فَوَاجِبٌ تَقْلِيدُ حَبْرٍ مِّنْهُمُ. It is compulsory upon you to imitate one of those scholars. كَذَا حَكَى الْقَوْمُ بِلَفْظٍ يُفْهَمُ. This is what the people had said with a very clear word. So they have made compulsory upon the ummah what Allah did not make compulsory. They made it compulsory upon us to follow those only 4 imams and nobody else. The second category is the one we call him al-muttabi'. Muttabi' is the follower. He's the one who understands the proofs of the scholars, and he would try to weigh these proofs, which one is more to the haqq, which one is the one closer to the right opinion. So, but he's not able to go as high as the mujtahid. He cannot extract, judgment on his own, because he hasn't got the knowledge to encompass or accommodate or encompass the whole of the proofs of that matter. This is for the scholar. Because he's not a scholar, but he looks at the proofs of this scholar and that scholar, and he could weigh out which one is better, which one is closer to the haqq. So it's called muttabi', and these are the students of knowledge. They're not scholars, and they're not as well blind followers. The third one, who is al-muqallid, the one who copy. So the copiers, you could say them. Al-muqallid, the imitators. They are the opposite of the mujtahid. So he is the ignorant person. He does not understand the proofs. He does not understand how to extract a decision from the proofs. He has to have, or he's in need to a scholar to tell him, or a student of knowledge to tell him. This is allowed to copy a scholar for the condition. That is you cannot abide yourself with a certain scholar. So these people call themselves Hanafis. When they, for example, give him a proof from a different scholar, they say, no, we are Hanafis, we can't. We're born Hanafis, we die Hanafis. Okay, we're born Hanafis, we die Hanafis. That is not allowed. That's called fanatism. Fanatic. A person, you are closing your mind and all the brain that Allah has given you, the intellect, you have rented all of that out to everywhere, to everybody except for yourself. Listen, that's it, Abu Hanifa. Are you better than Abu Hanifa? No, I'm not better than Abu Hanifa. But actually I've looked at the other scholars, and other scholars together, they are better than Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa doesn't make a mistake. So this is called the ta'assub. This ta'assub is always following the desire. This is the point. This is what the point Imam Ahmad. Don't make yourself following desire. Those muta'assib, you'll find them that they would leave the opinion of the scholar if it does not suit their desires. Do you understand? Say, we will jump. And I'll give you an example. First example I'll give you is that we know that from Abu Hanifa's madhab, not just Abu Hanifa's madhab, but actually the madhab of Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, and the Imam of Shafi'i, Imam Hanifa, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Those 4 imams, they say, if a person divorces his wife in this following way, talaq, 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 divorce, 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 she is completely divorced, Ba'ina baynuna al-kubra, meaning that his wife, she's not allowed to go back to him unless that she goes marry somebody else, and that person, either he dies or he divorces her, then she could go back to her, ex-husband, the first ex-husband. But when this happens, for example, to a son of a father who's Hanafi, very hardcore Hanafi, but that wife, he divorced her 3 times, divorce. She is his nephew, for example. She's the cousin of the husband of her son, or she's rich, for example. Now he can't let go of that girl. So he searches now for other fatawa. He goes to the Hanbalis, or the Shafi'is, or he would go to the Maliki, but all of them say, sorry, we've got the same opinion regarding this issue. They go back now to who? To Ibn Taymiyyah, whom they call him Wahhabi. Ibn Taymiyyah, haven't seen Muhammad Wahhab, by the way. They go to Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah, he said, no, we refer this to the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Time of the Prophet of Allah, the person says divorce, 3 times, or even to the power 1,000, 1,000 divorce, it still can't go up. 1 divorce. It's what the time of the Prophet. Who changed it? Umar al-Khattab. He changed it for a reason. At this time, people were playing around with divorce. I said, okay, I'm going to teach them a lesson. If a person says divorce, counts twice. Divorce, counts 3 times. And then since that time, the scholars adopted Umar al-Khattab. He said, at the time of Umar, that's what the time of Umar, and he's a Sahabi. He could really, and the companions had agreed with him. But now to refer to what the time of that Prophet ﷺ. So this Hanafi now, he would leave his Hanafiya and he would go to Taymiyyah. No Hanafiya anymore. And this I've seen with my own eyes. This person, he had divorced his wife 3 times on a piece of paper. He had given it to a girl whom he is having an affair with her. So he said to her, this girl who's having an affair with him, she said, to prove that you're going to be married to me later on. So what should I do? He said, okay, divorce your wife. She said, okay. He said, no, write it on a piece of paper. So she said, divorce. On a piece of paper 3 times. I've seen the paper myself. Divorce. So, this husband, he thought that she will never show this to what? To his first wife. To the wife of his, the only wife, he's got 1 wife. But this woman, what she did, she phoned the wife of his. And she said, the husband of yours, I divorced you, he's going to come to me. How do you say that? And she sent her a photocopy, or it could be like a shot or a WhatsApp of that divorce. And the wife, she said, I have to clear my situation. Am I married or not? And she was pregnant. The issue is that, I've got it documented in my surgery there, that she is from the Brailwis. And the Brailwis, in their fiqh, they are Hanafis. So she went to her Imam, who is a well-known Imam there. She showed him, he said, well, sorry, he divorced you 3 times. Now you have to separate. You can't go back to him unless you marry somebody else. She's got children from him. Come on, do something about it, Imam. Sorry, can't do anything. Now forget about the Brailwis now. They come to our masjid. The so-called, they call it Wahhabi masjid. They came to me and they asked me. And he came to me, saw somebody. And I said, he's Brailwi, and he went to his Imam. He said, yeah. This person who's talking to me, he is, mashallah, from the Salaf manhaj. So, but they are related to him, cousins or whatever. I said, okay, if I give them the fatwa, they have to write down, first of all, that they will abide with the fatwa. They can't just take a fatwa and then, because there's going to be a judgment now. I'm going to do that, but they have to abide by this. They have to write, with witnesses, that they're going to accept what I'm going to say. So they brought witnesses, and they sat down, and each of them they wrote that we're going to abide ourselves with the decision. Because I want to know that the wife, she will know what is right, what is wrong. So I said, and it was to do with, I can't remember the case exactly, it was to do with actually what happened is the child came out, yes, because he wrote this paper, and the child was delivered. He wrote it, and when he wrote it, she was pregnant. Okay, and she delivered the baby. And you know that even that 3 divorce counts in our category, or our understanding is 1 divorce, but because the delivery of the baby makes it what? She's a stranger. So she could go back to him with a new what? Marriage, with a new the wali, and also dowry. Everything's new. So this is the case, subhanAllah. So because she delivered the baby, so I said, first of all, regarding the 3 divorce, it's 1 divorce. But because she delivered the baby, she has at the moment passed her iddah. So she's a stranger. And she has to have the new consent from her father. And her father, by the way, is in Pakistan. And 2 witnesses. But they want to keep this not to become a scandal. So what they did, they took 2/3 of my fatwa. They formed another mufti, I don't know who is in Pakistan. He said, yeah, I agree on the fatwa of this sheikh of yours in High Wycombe. But I said to them, no, you don't have to marry each other. So they stuck them to each other and they said, khalas. Allahul musta'an. I don't know how they do it. So this is following the what? The whims and desires. You're not really making your intellect follow the sharia. For the sharia to follow the intellect. So this, the 3rd category, who are the muqallid, they simply, for example, they asked you, as a student knowledge, asked me, and I gave them the opinion. They should take it, but if somebody said to them, no, the opinion of such a sheikh is not really right, this is the right opinion, they should not say, oh, I'm not going to be. But he could see for himself that other one is better. But because of the whims and desire, it does not suit him. And I'll give you another example. The Islamic Bank. Just put this before I forget it. The Islamic Bank. When the Islamic Bank came, and I remember very well, it was not coming a long time ago. I'm talking about the last 20 years. Islamic banks. The people who wants to borrow money for the sake of making a mansion or a house or whatever. So the Islamic Bank suits them. So they come to us to ask about the bank Islamic Bank. We say the bank Islam is haram because it's the same thing. They don't have the bay'ah. We call it the bay'ah. That is, which is murabaha, one of the transactions. They don't do murabaha. It's actually they put riba but in a different way. It's more expensive than the normal riba bank. The more riba bank is much cheaper than them. Okay, and they call it halal. So we say it is haram. He said, no, well, you see, who are you? There is such and such sheikh with this big turban on top of his head. He had made it legal and halal. Who is that? But this person, by the way, whom they take it as a sheikh for himself to legalize such an action, is actually, he works in the bank himself. He's one of the trustees of the bank. So, fair enough, they fight with us, they don't listen. Okay, no problem. But later on, the country of ours decided to make peace with the Jews. Now emotions kicks in. They decided, the government, to make peace with the Israelis. These people, they can't accept that. How can you have peace with Israel with the Palestinians in their hands? So, they started saying, Wallahi, this is not right, it's not good. So I said to them, by the way, the scholars you said they are scholars, they are the one who said it's okay to make this peace. The same scholars who made it halal for you to take from the Islamic Bank, they are the one who make it halal. They are government scums. Before they are scholars, now they are government scum. Wallah, I'm not joking. Government scum. That's called whims and desire. And that's in front of my eyes as well. And I'm going to as well give you another one, which is in Haram. This happened to me in Mecca, when I went to as a murshid guide for the Hajj, the pilgrims. It was on the day of Al-Adha. It is for you know that the person, when he finishes Muzdalifah, after Fajr and before sunrise, he starts going to Mina to throw the pebbles. At my time, it was the most hardest thing is throwing the pebbles. Lots of people die before they built the mashallah 5 floors now. Lots of people get pushed out and died. So throwing the pebbles is not really easy. So the people, they leave after Fajr and towards Mina before sunrise. And when we reach the Mina, they throw the pebble, which is the last station. They throw it with 7 pebbles. That is after sunrise. But it is allowed for the women and the old people and those who are in charge to leave after midnight, not after Fajr, from Muzdalifah, in order to avoid the stampede, the crowd, and go there and throw what? The pebbles. According to our Sheikh al-Albani rahimahullah, yes, they could leave, according to the hadith, but they may not throw the pebbles until sunrise. So they will be there first, next to the pebble circle, or circuit, and then before the crowd comes in, and they will throw the pebbles relaxingly, those old people. But they have to wait until sunrise. Whereas I have a respected opinion from Sheikh Ibn Baz rahimahullah. Sheikh Ibn Baz, he says that they are allowed, if they come out from after midnight from Muzdalifah, they are allowed to throw the pebbles even before sunrise. Even we say that his opinion, according to what we believe, is not right, marjuh, but it's a respected opinion and he's got his proof for that. So when I was guiding to them, to the old people, and most of them act as an old people, by the way. If you want to leave after midnight, you have the right to do so, but don't throw the pebbles except after sunrise. You are Albani. What are you talking about? Ibn Baz says it's okay to throw it before sunrise. These people, they don't just throw the pebble before sunrise. They throw the pebbles, they shave their head, they slaughter their animals, they do Tawaf al-Ifada, do Sa'i al-Ifada, they do Hajj before the day of Hajj basically. The day of Hajj starts on the sunrise, on the Eid al-Adha. They do the Hajj before the Hajj. That's what happens. So they throw the pebbles. On the following day, the 11th and the 12th, and if you wish to stay to the 13th, you throw the 3 stations, 1, 2, 3, each one with 7 pebbles. But this throw has to be after Zawal, Dhuhr. Has to be after Dhuhr. So, and this is with the consensus of the proper scholars. These people, they don't want to by themselves after Dhuhr, they want to throw up before Dhuhr. And there are guides and Mushidun and those people being sent by the Ministry of Endowments in Saudi Arabia to say to the people on the loudspeaker, don't throw your pebbles on those days except after Dhuhr. When the Dhuhr Adhan comes in, you could throw. But these people, they don't listen. So I come to my group, the ones I was arguing with them all the time. You can't throw the pebbles until afternoon. He said, no, you can't. I said, well, Sheikh Ibn Baz, the one whom you have said that he could let you to throw your pebbles on the first day before sunrise, is saying to you, can't throw your pebbles unless after Dhuhr. Forget about Ibn Baz. This is Ibn Tawus. Wallahi, I'm not joking. Wallah. Allah, thank you for these words. Ibn Tawus. I don't know who's Ibn Tawus, I know him. But they've heard about him. They said somebody's called Tawus, and they think he's alive. It's a long time ago. Tawus or Uthman al-Batti, these are 2 are well known for, odd opinions. Call them odd opinions. I know, but some of them, somebody's called Tawus. Take his name, khalas, his fatwa is alright. So they throw their pebbles before Dhuhr. That's it. Who's that? Tawus. So Ibn Baz was respected, now he's chucked out. Out. That's what they do. And by the way, our country, for example, they did not allow the girl who did not reach her puberty to marry. In Islam, the girl, when she's not reaching her puberty, it's not a condition for her to get married, it's only the male. So the male has to reach puberty in order to get married. But the female, Prophet Allah married Aisha when she was what? 9 years old. She did not reach her puberty. He made the contract when she was 6 years old. And he consummated this marriage, intercourse, 9 years old. So there is no difference amongst all the scholars, okay, that marrying the young girl is allowed. Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, Thawri, whatever you like it. But the country, they're employing those people with a big turban on their heads. So they told them, we want to prevent this. Come on, search into the situation. So they searched. Oh, we've got 2 people who say it's not allowed to marry the young girls. They are, number 1, طاووس again, and Uthman al-Batti, or Hatim al-Asam. No, let's do it. Who's Uthman al-Batti and who's Hatim al-Asam? Nobody knows. Well, they said it's not allowed to marry the young girl. Khalas, finish the story. You left all these great scholars, Imam Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, Maliki, forget about them. And you go to some people. If I told you, have you heard about Uthman al-Batti, Hatim al-Asam? Heard about them? No. You never heard of them. Even history doesn't hear about them. But there is, it's true. They prevented, it's not good to marry the young girl. Allahul Musta'an. That's called whims and desires again. And this called fanaticism or ta'assub, blind following in Europe, it actually scattered this ummah. And we find that stories we have read to the extent that it came into a physical contact between people who adopt certain methodologies or madhab and they're not willing, to accommodate or to adapt the other madhab. Not even to accommodate, to let the other person do it, until we had not one single prayer in the haram, but 4 prayers for each prayer. So we had a total of 20 prayers every day. We had the Hanafis, their own Imam and their own side of the Kaaba. Then the Shafi'is and Hanbals and Malikis. So for the Asr prayer, for example, the last one will offer the prayer, the Hanafis. They will have their own Jama'ah. So we've got 4 religions. This is why I said, when you have blind following, you'll end up with more of one religion, and that's what split the Ummah. One person in the books we have read the history, he came from the Maliki area, which is in Moroccan's area, into after the rivers of Euphrates, which is where in the places of Pakistan and all these places, and he resided there, and he moved his finger. You know the Maliki moved his finger, okay, when they say the Shah. Some of them, they move it in a way which would irritate the person who doesn't like anything to move. Like the Hanafis. Like this. You seen him? But this one, I have seen him only 3 days ago. He was beside me. He was doing like this, wallahi. 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 He was doing like this. I was holding himself from laughing. He was, I think, wiping with him. And he's doing next to me. He's next to me, stuck to me. How can I hold yourself from laughing? From the beginning to the end. So imagine this person now is going to do it next to a Hanafi. What happened? This person has been warned more than one time. They dropped and snapped his finger. That's in the history. And I'm reading it. They snapped his finger. Now, to the extent that they will never leave or let a person from one madhab to marry another person from the different madhab. For the Hanafis, they will not allow a Shafi'i male to marry from a Hanafi female. No way. But there is a person who's mufti from their side. They said, we'll let him marry. We will let our male Hanafi marry from the female Shafi'i. We treat him like the people of the book. Christian and Jews. And this is what we say, he is, by the way, called the Mufti Thaqalain. Gives fatwa to 2 kinds of people. People and jinn. Mufti Thaqalain. It's called Mufti Thaqalain. So he gives the fatwa, no problem. We'll make the male Hanafi to marry the female Shafi. People will treat them as Christians and Jews. Allahul Musta'an. And that is why we find even in the books of some of the Hanafi, Malaq al-Falah, one of the great books talks about this issue. In that book he says, if, for example, a dog falls into a well of water and he dies and he rots, so the Hanafi says, well, you take it out from the well. Either you fertilize land with it, or you give it to a Shafi'i follower to eat. You give it to a Shafi'i follower. This is a warning from the Hanafi scholars of theirs. That's how they treat each other. Give it to Shafi'i, you eat the dog, because there's no problem for them to eat a rotten dog. Halal for them. One of the Hanafis, he said, if it was for me to be the leader, I will take jizya from the Shafi'i followers. You know what's jizya? The tribute. The money which is being taxed, take it from the non-Muslims. I'll take it from them, from the Shafi'i followers. And that is why I said, that is, a'udhu billah, this is called ta'assub, which split the ummah. Number of books, alhamdulillah, being written to refute and object on such a concept. One of these books called that is Hadiyat al-Sultan ila Muslimi Bilad al-Yaban. The gift of the Sultan, that is to the people of Muslims in Yaban in Japan, is to do with the madahib. And another title for it, هل مسلم ملزم باتباع مذهب من المذاهب الأربع, is the Muslim is abided to follow one of these four madahib. And also a book of Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah, رفع الملام عن أئمة الإعلام, the lifting of the blame from those scholars. And the best of those books is بدعة التعصب المذهبي. Muhammad Eid Abbasi, one of the students of Sheikh Al-Albani, he made a book like this thick, and in it he brought all these stories which I told you about the will. He gathered all of them, about cutting the finger and about lots of things. You know, in the madahib you'll find lots of things that makes you as well disgusted. If a person reverted to Islam, he might think to go and leave Islam if you read these things. One of them, in that book which I've read, is that how this madahib, they go through the matters and detailing matters which the Prophet of Allah left them in there as to be general, but they went into detailed things that they're not required to go into it. For example, if the people want to line up for the prayer, who is entitled for leading the prayer? According to the Prophet ﷺ, is the one who knows the most about the Quran. And if they are equal in the Quran, you could have half and a half, no problem. Then the one who is most equal in the Sunnah, or the most knowledgeable in the Sunnah. So you could have as well one person having memorized Bukhari and Muslim, another Bukhari and Muslim, could have them equal. But then the Prophet said the one who migrated first, that means he came to Islam to repentance before the other. And as you can find, rarely people will be equal to the Quran, equal to the Sunnah, and equal as well on the day that they came to Islam. Okay, let's say that this is alright. Then, the one who is older in age. You will never find in a Jama'ah where there is no Imam there appointed, that we want to make the person to lead. We're going to have, sort of a conflict. Oh brother, lead or no? I think if we got equal Quran, one of us equal Sunnah, we made repentance on the same day, and we got the same date of birth. It's impossible. So those came now in the madhab and wrote, Madhab al-Hanafi. He said, if they are equal in that, they got now something added, not from the Sunnah, this is from them. Then, the one who's got the biggest head, Hasim, you might lead that. The biggest head. He's got the biggest turban, the bigger they are, the more chance you're going to lead. Biggest head. Why? Because the biggest head has got much brain. That's the reasoning for that. Much brain. Then they go ahead. And then if they are got the, let's say, imagine now we're going to measure the heads. It's the same. All the heads are the same, then the one's got the most beautiful wife. Now imagine you're going to do that. Now bring the wives and line them up and see, make a contest now. Who's going to, why? Because if you got the most beautiful wife, then you will have to lower your gaze because you're not going to look at other girls. Got the most beautiful wife. So imagine you're going to line up the girls now. The women, oh, you are the most beautiful class. Your husband is entitled for leading the prayer. And the last one is the worst. After that, the one who's got the smallest private part. That's in the book. I don't know how you're going to mention that. Do you know why they got reasoning for that? Because you have more chastity. You don't think about women now. How the logic is that? Allah Muslim. And even the Sheikh, he goes further than that, have a discussion. How are you going to measure it? Allah Muslim. Right, the Barbahari rahimahullah, he says, Wa'lam, point number 8, rahimakallah, have no mercy upon you. There is no qiyas in the Sunnah, and you should not give examples for it, and you should not follow the desires and only to believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's athar, the sayings, without saying how, without explanation, don't say why and how, you just follow the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And inshallah we will be talking about point number 13 in 2 weeks' time. And I need now to grab this moment to talk about an important occasion which is coming. That is why I will leave it here to point number 13. And we know for a fact we are heading towards great days. It could be tomorrow. So it's a reminder. Those are the first 10 days of the Hijjah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made an oath by these days. وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ. If Allah makes an oath by something, it indicates its importance. Those are the days, they include the best of days. They include the day of Arafah and they include the day of Nahr. They start, as I said, maybe from tonight. And if the person has to, well, it's compulsory upon him, he's obliged to slaughter an udhiyah, he needs to make sure he can't cut his nails or his hair from anywhere or even peel off his skin until his udhiyah is being slaughtered. Even it's going to be slaughtered outside the country. So if you've got nails today just before the Maghrib, and Maghrib is going to be, well, in about maybe half an hour now. I'm not talking here, I'm talking about an hour there in Saudi Arabia. And they're going to announce it in a minute. So if you've got nails now, go cut them quickly. If you are the head of the family, before you're not allowed to cut them for 10 days. They grow up and they're going to annoy you. Okay, I made sure, alhamdulillah, my nails are cut. So cut your nails, or you want to cut your hair as well. You're going to wait for another 10 days. But once it starts, and if you are the head of the family, sacrificial on you, then you have to abstain from that. Now remember to teach yourself and your family to start embarking upon the good deeds. Those days, unfortunately, Muslims, they don't pay attention to. They are much greater in reward than the last 10 nights of Ramadan. But people, they pay attention to the last 10 nights of Ramadan. They come to their ibadah. They are into gear because of Ramadan. They come to the night, suqan, mashallah, qiyam. But how many people pay attention for those days? Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, مَا مِنْ أَيَّامٍ الْعَمَلُ الصَّالِحُ فِيهَا أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْأَيَّامِ. There is no other days on which good deeds are performed that more rewardable, are dearer to Allah than the righteous deeds which are done during these days, than the first 10 days. He said, Messenger of Allah, حتى الجهاد في سبيل الله, even the jihad for the sake of Allah. Do you know why? Because the jihad for the companions, they know it's the ultimate. And when the person wants to make jihad, must be his ibadah is on top form. That means his prayer is on top, the best. His charity is the best, his fasting is the best, his hajj is the best. That is why he's willing to sacrifice himself for the sake of Allah. You cannot make jihad when you spend all day on PlayStation, box 6, box 1. No way! Because your Xbox One is going to be more precious for you than jihad. But if your ibadah is on top form, you're going to make jihad. And that is what I'm just saying. You make jihad. So the Prophet ﷺ was asked by the companions, even jihad, Messenger of Allah, which we know that when the jihad comes in, if you are a martyr, all your sins will be forgiven and all of that. He said, حَتَّى الْجِهَادِ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Even they are better. That is righteous deeds in those days, better than the jihad fi sabilillah. Except for a person that he goes to the jihad with himself and his wealth, and he returns with neither. That means he lost himself as a martyr, and he lost his wealth for the sake of Allah. And how many people can do that? Very, very few. So why don't we just tell our children, parents, all of that family who are locals as well, friends, this opportunity, those days. What can I do in those days? Takbir, tahmeed, tahleel, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah. But the takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. Make the takbir. Make it in your family with loud voice. Maybe outside I'm not really invited to do that. You say takbir, everybody will take a row off the floor. I think you got something in your pocket. It became like a symbol of terrorism now, takbir. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar kabira. Allahu Akbar kabira. Allahu Akbar wa ajal. Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamd. Keep your tongue. Mention the takbir on those days. Abu Hurairah, Allah ibn Umar, they used to make takbir, go to Mina just for that reason. To make takbir until Mina, when they make the takbir, they shake Mina. All Mina would shake. Why? Because it's takbir. All of Mina would shake. Umar Khattab would make takbir in Mina, all the people would follow him. They make takbir. Subhanallah. Wallahi, if you have takbir, as Muslims, as unity together, MashaAllah, no enemies would lay a finger upon you. MashaAllah. If the Eid was to be performed according to the Prophet ﷺ outside, in the open space where all the Muslims come to one place, if you can't find it, then go to one masjid and that's it. All of you, to one place, to one spot. If you have that, wallahi, your enemies will be scared of you. Wallahi, nobody would touch you. All of you on one takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. I'm going to show you a view and footage of something that happened in Russia. It's not in Pakistan, nor is Bangladesh, or Zanzibar, not even Saudi Arabia. The Muslims there in one place. That's why the Russians, they are really now at the moment concerned. This is in the Eid, Eid al-Adha last year. Look at that. Have you got any Wi-Fi here? Yeah. Here? Okay, what is the name of it? Is it Grand?
No.
Is it
Bedford Al-Falah.
Huh?
Bedford Al-Falah.
There's nothing here, Bedford Al-Falah.
Bedford Al-Falah.
Okay, never mind, I just put it mine. If you haven't got it, I've got mine. Right, let me just show you now. Okay. This is from the head view, so from the helicopter camera. Okay. Right, just write type here. Eid prayer in Russia. How do you write Russia?
R-U-S-S-I.
Okay. Okay, it's the first one. Alright. Look at that. By the way, the takbir has been taken out. I don't know why in this one. This is. Okay. Can you see it like that?
Yeah.
Look. The people, there are oceans of people. It's an endless of people. You see it, your iman goes up, subhanAllah. And if he's an enemy of Islam, he will be scared. That is the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Look. Can you see it? Can you see it, everybody? Is that okay like this?
Yeah.
Look. Now, this is nothing. This is not even a 1/10 of these people. Look. There's no end for them. I've tried to find the end of them. I can't. But wherever the camera goes, they're blocking the whole streets.
Is that last year?
Yeah, yeah. You can see it, please. Come and see it, folks. Come and see it.
I saw it.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
Now, I know the person who was there as well. A friend of mine. He was there as well. This is Russian TV, by the way. Look, this is now the camera. It's going to go 360 degrees. How many people had seen it? Just you? Somebody saw it? That's time for you. So look, 300 degrees. And it's going to go all the way down this motorway, whatever road is. And it's going to be as well. I'm not going to finish there. Look, look, look. Look, look. Still, it's going to travel there. Still, it's coming this way as well. We're talking about millions. Look. There they are here. They're going to go to the street here. Can you see them now? Look. There they are. Look. SubhanAllah. And by the way, they were saying takbir in the normal video. Look. Look. Still, there's no finishing. Look. Look. And then they go this way as well. SubhanAllah. This is the Sunnah of the Prophet. That's why the Prophet told us to make the Salat al-Eid outside in the Musalla. To show them, actually to make those non-Muslims who want to embrace Islam, this will make them to embrace Islam. You can't be saying that all of these people are wrong. Make them to embrace Islam. And also the people who are Muslims or weak in Iman will not pay faith into him. And the ones who are no good, he will scare them off. Now. Right, in this, as I said, also from the good thing that you could do is fasting the days. You fast Monday, fast Thursday, fast the day and break the following day. But fasting all of them is not being recorded from the Sunnah. Fast the day of Arafah, which could be the day of Tuesday or it could be Wednesday. The Eid could be Wednesday or it could be Thursday. Alright? So Arafah could be Tuesday or Wednesday, depending. If tomorrow is the first day, then Tuesday is the day of Arafah. Don't forget to fast the day of Arafah, for verily fasting the day of Arafah is a sin expiation for the previous and the following year. Lots of virtues and excellencies of the day of Arafah. This is not the time to discuss them, but I would just want to point out something, which is, why don't we make the udhiyah in this country? It's not from the Sunnah to send your money to Zanzibar or to Pakistan or to whatever country it is. Sunnah is to make your udhiyah here. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us to do. So making the udhiyah somewhere else just because of the charity they want to give to the poor people, that's not right. And when the Prophet said it's from the Sunnah, you eat from the udhiyah. Okay? So it's going to be impossible for you to take some meat from Zanzibar to send you here, eat from the udhiyah. And from the Sunnah as well, to you to slaughter it. That's impossible now. There's no such thing, slaughtering by Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, slaughter here and then the sheep is there and being slaughtered. Can't do that. So if it is the case, then slaughtering where? Here. And then it is difficult. I've been here for more than 11 years. Every year I slaughter myself. And then it's difficult. You just go and find your... Now, I'm grabbing this opportunity to tell you, brothers, there are some lamb for you to slaughter in Derby. That's off the camera. Please.